My name is Jacob Beiterman. I'm 42, and for 25 years I've been writing code. If you would like to know in detail what exactly I do, here is the address of my website, btlr.com. You're very welcome. What do you think from the entire school curriculum is the most important for your future work as software developers? Math and English, you say? No, it's mechanics. First of all, it's the mechanics, because in order to solve such a task, for example, we had to imagine something that does not exist in the reality. Even in theory, we could take an inclined plane and put a small wooden box on it in order to see it in front of our eyes. But all those arrows, they do not exist in the reality. This is a pure example of something abstract, an abstract object, abstract actions. Programming is always about dealing with something abstract. Whatever we program does not exist in the physical sense. No matter what we create as programmers, it doesn't exist. And there was something else. No, it's not exactly drawing. Does anyone remember? Yes, exactly. Syntactical analysis. We had there subjects, predicates, and if you remember, we also had pronouns. If you remember, we had phonetical analysis of words when we tried to understand what sounds are consonants and what of them are vowels. And we had structural analysis when we figured out the stems, the roots, and prefixes and suffixes. So why the analysis is so very much important for us now when we speak about development, software development and programming. Because all these examples show us processing of data. Now please imagine you need to build a 100-meter long fence. You already have wire panels and vertical poles. You have 100 wire panels and a number of poles. So the question is, how many poles do you need? What do you say? 10? Seriously? 19? Come on, guys, have a think. I repeat, the length of the fence is 100 meters. We have to put poles every meter. So how many poles? 100? 99? 101? So what's the final answer? It's going to look like this. A pole, a panel, another pole, another panel, and so on. And then we have the final pole, right? Yes, the total length is 100 meters. Then in the course of our collective discussion, we have two variants, 100 and 101. So make your choice, guys. No, we may not buy extra poles. Let's imagine they are very expensive. Let's say $500,000 each pole. Have to stick to our budget. What are you saying? If we have 2 meters, then we have 3 poles. If we have 3 meters, we have 4 poles, and so on. Jokes aside, we cannot limit our choice to only 10 poles, even though they are very expensive. Please follow me. If we look from above at our fence, it can be like this or like that. It can be a straight line or a closed circle. Please pay your attention. I never mentioned in the conditions of our task what is the configuration of the fence. Our need for an extra pole depends on this configuration. Or another question. A square root of 4 is 2, right? 2. Are you sure? Now, what about minus 2? The square of minus 2 is 4, the same as the square of 2 is 4. So, as you see, there are tasks with more than one single answer. In programming, in software development, we have such a thing as technical requirements. And even if the task seems to be absolutely simple, we do need technical requirements. We need technical requirements in order to avoid situations of extra or missing poles. And what is responsible for this? A vision. Programmers need this vision. In other words, you need to care. You cannot say that you have no shit to give about extra poles. You have to envision the entire picture of something that does not exist in the reality in the smallest detail. Programming languages. There is an enormous number of programming languages. New languages appear on a regular basis. And you know what? I have an interesting example from my life of a language that, in the course of 5 or 6 years, appeared, became very popular, and then died. My team works on a package of casino games. The project is almost over after a year of hard work. The project is now in the QA. All is cool and nice and working. You can download it from the internet and install on your PC. It was long before iPhones. At that time, we had to download installation packages and run them in order to set up a game on the PC. Only this way. So we completed the development and were working on fine tuning. One day, one guy comes and says, I will show you something. Just sit tight. So we sit tight and watch what he shows. The thing he showed us was called Macromedia Flash. And it is a wow. It is fantastic, unbelievable animations, everything is so smooth and fast. But the most important of all, this technology required no installation, no setup. You can play without installing of the game on your computer. What does it mean practically? A wonderful thing. Users can play a game on their office PC. Well, we do not care. On the contrary, we like it from our perspective of game developers. So they can easily play at work with no setup. When the working day is over, they quickly get home, turn on their home PC and continue playing exactly from the same place where they stopped playing at work. So the new technology appeared. Our boss looked at it and says, all you have done until now goes down the drain. The whole year of your work is buried. We forget it and start building it from scratch. 3 months later, we launched the product on this new technology. It worked like a charm. But I now cannot say what year it was. iPhone was released. Not a killer, at least not the first one, which came with 4 or 5 or so apps. There were no apps created by third-party developers, but next year Apple opened the App Store, the marketplace for applications, and third-party developers started filling it up with whatever came to their mind. Apple refused to support this technology on iPhones. They said their definite no. So if you wish, you can create apps on the Apple's technology, Apple's native language, either HTML5 or Objective-C. There will be no Flash. Soon we saw the death of Flash. Why am I telling you this story? In the course of a comparatively short period of time, a new technology is born. It conquers the market. All love it, all use it. And then one day it dies. Something similar happened to Java on mobile devices. It was before Android and iOS, the previous generation of smartphones. They were not as smart as they are today. They had some apps and games written in Java for mobile. If I'm not mistaken, Java to Mobile Edition, something like that. Today this technology is almost dead. for somebody who has button phones and if internet connection is still available on them.
У кого лишилися кнопочні телефони, на яких там ще є якийсь інтернет, якщо є екрани більш приємні.
So, programming languages appear and disappear. Technologies rise and fall. But we, those who chose this profession, still have to feed our children. That is why a programmer always learns. Programming is always a vision. If today I write code in one language, tomorrow I will write it in a different language, and the day after tomorrow in a new one. The process never ends. I do not really know what is taught in the course or in the courses of programming at technical universities these days. Probably C is taught. Probably Pascal is taught, which is very important and very interesting. I can compare it to Latin. It is very cool for your wide range of interests. But frankly, you can learn 20, 30 idioms. Throw them here and there, so everybody thinks you are a genius. And when you reach your pension age, then you can afford learning prehistoric languages, which are basically dead. Don't get me wrong, somebody probably still codes in some very rare languages. But the percentage of available job offers for developers in such languages is very small. And there you find a very big competition. Because those who learned such languages 10, 15, 20 years ago, they are still on the market. They do not want to go home. They will not give up easily. It is not important what language will be your first one. You can start with JavaScript. It's very simple. There are a lot of books. You can try it on a very basic computer, very old one or cheap. You can immediately see the results of your programming efforts. Simply launch it in the browser and see what it does. I said we have... Generally, programming is based on the vision and is down to only two abstract notions. Two notions. They are data and operations. The rest is from the evil. To put it simple, the data is like money. What can you do with money? Your ideas. Buy something, invest them, spend, earn them. Listen, you make it so complicated. Manipulate. No. You think very complicated. With money, you can do the following: multiply and sum up, and subtract and divide. You can also compare. You have a plus, a minus, multiplication, division, and you have comparison. All other actions can be brought down to these basic functions. Actually, there is one more. Somewhere to store it. We will get there soon. Here is an example. Spending money. In this example, what operations are performed? Firstly, it is a comparison. In order to spend something, I have to compare. Does it make sense or not? Make a decision. More or less. Do I have enough? Then minus or plus works. I from my pocket, minus. Where it goes, it's a plus. Data must be somewhere. It must be put into something. It cannot exist in the air. Money is stored in a wallet or on a bank account. We can say precisely how much money we have in the wallet. In programming, we have variables, or var in short. I like the word pronoun. What is a pronoun? It replaces something. I is a pronoun, you is a
Я це
pronoun.
займенник.
It goes instead of a noun, instead of a name.
Він заміщає. Тобто це якась
It is a kind of a box. You can put something into it. The procedure of putting something into this box
коробочку.
has the name,
В програмуванні зветься
the operation of assignment.
операцією присвоювання. Тобто я
I take 10 pounds and put them into the wallet. I assign the value of 10 pounds to my wallet.
присвоюю вартість 10 гривень.
This is programming's hardest concept for understanding.
Взагалі. В те, що можна
The fact that you can take something and store some value into this something.
значення
That's the most complicated concept.
складна, найскладніша концепція.
If it makes sense, the rest is not hard.
Далі все буде простіше.
Subscribe to stay updated. See you next time.